You're listening to Good Morning Gwinnett, a division of ABK Media Group, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County every day at 9 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Good Morning Gwinnett. I'm your host, Audrey Bell Kearney. So happy to be here with you today. Got a really cool guest with me today. He's going to be talking about, we're doing a series called Taking Control of Your Financial Destiny. I'm tired tongue again. My guest today is Mr. Chris Cooke, and he is a financial advisor, and he has a lot of knowledge in this industry. So happy to be a part of what he's doing. He's really helping communities build their financial portfolio through stocks and learning how to manage money and invest. And he's going to be our guest for the next 12 weeks on Wednesday, talking about creating your financial destiny and taking control of that, because that's really important. Every day we go to work, we do a lot of work, to make ends meet for our families. But are we really putting anything away for the future? Are we really saving? Are we really securing our futures financially so that we don't have to worry? I remember when the financial crisis hit in 2008, 2009. Now, what was crazy is I bought my house in 2006 in New Jersey, and we were like probably right at the beginning of the crash. But I remember watching this show because I love watching MSNBC and CNBC. And there was this guy who was extremely wealthy, and they were talking about the financial crisis. And he said, "What financial crisis?" Because he didn't have one, because he was wealthy. And so we're going to be talking to Chris over the next 12 weeks about what do we need to do to get to that point. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my guest this morning, Mr. Chris Cooke. Thank you so much, Chris, for being with me this morning.
Hey, Audrey, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am just uber excited when I find people who are really interested in changing their financial trajectory. And it really doesn't take a lesson in economics. You don't need a degree. It's just some basic things that people would do and discipline themselves. They'll be surprised. And even in a shorter period of 90 days, they can be on the path to financial independence.
Chris, sometimes though, people just don't believe that they can be wealthy. Like, it's just a mindset thing. Like, I think about when they've done case studies on people. They did a case study one time. I think it was a dog. The dog, the mother dog, the parent dog had it like its back legs broken, and it would drag itself around. The front legs weren't broken. Like, he was paralyzed. The mother was paralyzed. She had some puppies, and the mother dog would drag herself around because she was paralyzed on the backside, but she wasn't paralyzed on the front. Well, she had puppies, and her puppies saw her dragging herself around. So they thought that that's how they were supposed to walk, drag themselves around. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people's mindset is that, you know what, my parents aren't rich. I don't see how I can get rich. My mother worked hard her whole life, and, she was still struggling. That's probably the way I'm going to be too. And there are people who are highly educated, who are still struggling right now. So can you speak a little bit about what it takes to create a wealth mindset? Because this is where we're starting. This is part of this series. We have 12 parts to go, and we're going to be bringing you a piece every Wednesday, but we have to start with the mindset.
Yeah, that's so true. People aren't poor. People don't struggle financially because they don't have money. See, that's a misconception. We think that the reason why I'm struggling financially or I'm poor is because I don't have money. No, it's just you alluded to earlier, is this way I think. And the way you think about money is actually everything. See, we normally think that money is just a commodity to buy things. I'm a consumer. And when we think about changing our mindset, especially when it comes to money, it can have some incredible effect on us. Give you an example. An individual hits the lottery, but because they haven't developed a mindset of managing money or how do I get my money to work for me, 3 to 5 years later, they're broke. So what is the difference between having a poverty mindset or a money mindset? It's again comes back to how you think. If you think you don't deserve to be financially secure, you'll never be financially secure. However, if we upgrade our thinking and our self-image and how we regard money, and that you deserve to be financially free and you deserve to not struggle financially, that will give you peace of mind, and that financial security provides you with a better choice of doing things that need to be done. So there's this common misunderstanding, Audrey, that average and ordinary people can't become millionaires or even become financially independent. But that can be further from the truth. The fact is, the truth of the matter is that every one of your listeners and you and I have the power to accumulate wealth beyond our wildest dreams. Even people that earn a six-figure income who have become finally independent, you have to ask the question, how did they do it? Did it take a high-level job with a salary or a large inheritance or winning the lottery? The answer is no. It's to change your mindset no matter what your income level is. I want your listeners to hear that. No matter what your income level is, you can take control of your financial destiny. You can achieve financial freedom by changing the way you think.
Now, that sounds all good. And if somebody's listening to this show is going to say, that sounds great, but how do I change my mindset? What do I need to do? What are some steps I can take like right now to get in the right mindset about, you know what, I want to be rich. And I'm not just saying that I want to be rich, but what are a few steps that a person can take to get on that path to becoming wealthy? And not just rich, but wealth outlives us. And I give you a prime example of that. When you think about Rockefeller, that was wealth. When you think about Andrew Carnegie, that was wealth. Vanderbilt, that was wealth. J.P. Morgan, that was wealth. Because you know what? Those legacies are still very much alive today, and those families are very much wealthy right today. So what do you do? What are some of the steps that a person can take just to get themselves on the path, like the first step, like, because like the journey starts with the first step. What are some of the steps?
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are, getting their pens and pencils ready to jot down something, and they think it's going to be about something economical or something financial. But again, as you said at the top of this broadcast, it's changing the way you think. That means you've got to make some changes about what goes in before you can get something out. And there's a lot of great books out there. You mentioned some individuals that are wealthy, or Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, guys like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg. It started with a change in mindset. So if you're asking, one of the first things I would do is start reading books that's going to change your mindset. There's a host of books out there, and they don't have to be about finance. They have to be about personal development, raising your standards. One of my favorite books, and you and I were talking about it offline, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Man, Poor Man, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, excuse me. An excellent book, and that book really talks a lot more about mindset. I would encourage individuals to start investing in books like that. That's going to help you change your mindset. And there's a host of them, but that's where I would start. Changing the way I think by changing what I put in. Why? Because you're only going to get out what you put in. So if you don't put anything in that's going to help you change your mindset, you're going to do the same thing January, February, all the way to the end of the year. So that's where I would start with reading books like that.
And here's the thing. If someone is going to say, I don't have time to read, let me tell you this. If you have a cell phone or a tablet or a computer or even an Alexa, you can listen to any kind of audio you could probably think of. There's either a podcast out there on it or there's an audio book on it. So you got to remove excuses too. I don't have the time to read. I don't like to read. Well, if you don't like to read, do you like to listen? And if you like to listen, go subscribe to Audible. Audible is one of the best places to get some great books on audio. I have an Audible subscription. My husband and I listen to those things, personal development stuff. Like Tony Robbins is one of our favorite people. Like my husband loves him. Yeah. And we listen to Tony Robbins because, listen, he tells a story about how he struggled. Now he is traded on the stock exchange. He has his company is on the stock exchange. And a lot of people don't know that, but it is. He has built a huge personal development company that is actually traded on the stock exchange. And he started in a one room, I think it was an apartment or hotel room or something crazy like that. But there are plenty of stories out there like that. And like Chris said, it doesn't have to be about money. Read somebody's story. The gentleman that I mentioned a minute ago, Andrew Carnegie and J.P. Morgan and Vanderbilt and Rockefeller, I watched a movie, Chris. It was an 8-part series called The Men Who Built America. It was fascinating. It was fascinating. And if you have Amazon Fire TV or Fire Stick or something like that, go to the Amazon and type in The Men Who Built America for the videos, and it comes up. That is a fascinating 8-part series. It was so good until I just could not stop watching. And here's the thing about that. It's going to motivate you. It's going to motivate you to say, you know what? If they could do it back in 1885, I can do it now in 2019. So mindset is everything. Another great book, Chris, and I don't know if you read this one. I'm sure you have. Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Great book.
Yeah.
Great book.
Yeah.
You know,
The Magic of Thinking Big, Acres of Diamonds. You mentioned Tony Robbins, one of my favorites also. I agree with you. And one of the things he said that made a change in his life is when he decided to raise his standards and made a decision what he was no longer going to tolerate. As it pertains to finances, we have to make a decision, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, definitely not 2020, but today. You know what? I'm going to raise my standards. I deserve more. My children deserve more. My family deserves more, but I'm no longer going to tolerate certain things. You know, part of this is also, you talk about steps. Not only is developing the mindset, I teach also you got to change your will set. What is it you want? Why do you want it? What price are you willing to achieve or pay to achieve it? And when do you want it? So you got to change your will set. A big part of that is discipline. You know, we live in a culture that tells you to jump, and we ask how high as it pertains to money. I know a lot of you think, well, what is he talking about? Well, in a few more days, Valentine's Day is coming up, and people will reach in their pockets and their pocketbooks without question and spend money. And then in March, we'll celebrate maybe St. Patrick's Day. In April, we'll celebrate Easter and spend money. And in May, it's Mother's Day. In June, it's Father's Day. July is the 4th of July. August is back to school. We feel we got to get our children all the latest gadgets and gear. In September, there's Labor Day. October, Halloween. November, we have Thanksgiving. December, January. And we will, without thinking, spend money unnecessarily because somebody said we have to. Even Hallmark has got in on the deal, and they start making up days like Secretary's Day and Grandparents' Day. And so we're conditioned. So what we have to do, not only change the narrative, but change the orientation, whereas I've got to discipline myself. I'll give you an example. I stopped watching TV almost 3 years ago. I don't watch television at all. It was hard at first, but now I've got the time, as you were just alluding to do the things that's most important. And I can't think of anything more important than putting myself in a position financially where it's going to benefit me and my family.
I got to tell you, Chris, I haven't given it up completely. I still have my guilty pleasures on Sundays because that's my relaxed day because I try to relax. Otherwise, I'll be on go all the time. But you're absolutely right. You have to decide what you want to give up. You got to make some sacrifices. Creating wealth is not easy. We're not saying it's easy, and you're going to find out through this 12-part series that it is not easy because you're going to have to make some sacrifices. I can tell you right now, yesterday was a long day for me. I'm talking about literally like 11 o'clock I was in the office working. And that's because we're building a new TV network. And it was so funny because I went upstairs to shower and go to bed, and I literally got in the bed and something hit me, and I got out the bed and came back down to the office. It was crazy. And it was 11 o'clock. I'm sitting in the office still doing stuff because you got to make sacrifices. So you got to change your mindset. You got to put good stuff in so you can get good stuff out. And you got to figure out, you know what, is it worth the sacrifices that I'm going to have to make? Because some people don't want to sacrifice anything. They don't want to give, they want to have this, they want to have the same life that they have now, but they're saying they want a better life. Because they don't want to give up sacrifice. And I hear people talk like that all the time. But what do I got to give up? I mean, that means I can't do this. Yeah, that's exactly what it means. You can't do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. You know, talk about the discipline again. One of my daughters who works with me as well, and endeavoring to help her get to a certain place in her business and her finances. So I did something real simple. The discipline isn't hard, but if we would just do it for a period of time, it becomes automatic. So what I told her is that every day before you leave for work, I want you to make up your bed. On Saturdays when you're off, once you get out of bed, don't wait, immediately make up your bed. Before you go to church, make up your bed. If it's a holiday, make up your bed. And what I'm trying to teach her is the discipline, because I believe this, Audrey, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. If I procrastinate in this area of my life, there's a good likelihood I procrastinate in that area of my life. If I'm lazy in this area of my life, there's a good likelihood it spills over to other areas. So something as simple as getting in the habit of making up your bed. You do that deal for 30 days, you'll see that it'll start to spill over into other areas of your life. So yeah, the mindset, changing my mindset. Now I got to change my will set. I've got to discipline myself to do the little things. Because if I won't do the little things, I'll convince myself that I want my life to change, but won't do the things necessary to make it change.
You know, Chris, that is so true. I mean, it's the small little things. I got to tell you, I hate washing dishes. I've always hated washing dishes since I was a child. I don't know why. I think in my past life, I must have been a dishwasher. But washing dishes is one of the things I absolutely hate. Now, here's the thing. I have a dishwasher. Right. And I had to create a new discipline for myself because I was like, man, I don't want to touch the dishes. It's crazy. And it's all in your mind. It's all in your mind. And I said to myself, okay, you know what? This is scandalous. I have a dishwasher. Why am I like having these anxieties over washing dishes when I have a freaking dishwasher? Mm-hmm. So what I started to do was I had to create this habit. I would put the dishes in the dishwasher at night. And it was so funny because in the morning when I walked in the kitchen, just to walk in a clean kitchen, first thing in the morning, it's refreshing.
Yeah.
Now it's a habit.
Yeah. And it changes so many other areas, and we just don't see how that is. I understand your listeners work hard and they develop certain habits, but we can change those habits. We talk about controlling our financial destiny, but it starts again with the mindset. I've got to make up my mind. Do I really want what I say I want? And if you don't, that's fine. Nobody disparages you because of that. That's your choice. But you got to have the will set. How bad do you want it? You know, I think back to this last government shutdown that we had. And after 2 weeks, individuals were already lining up to food pantries. I want to show you the connection here because their mindset had been, I've got a good job and I'm going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks and I'm going to be okay. Here's what you and I know and a lot of your listeners. Just because you had a job today when you left don't mean you're going to have one tomorrow. And so we've learned to rely on, we become dependent on either the government sending me a check, my employer paying me payday, but we need to ask ourselves the question, what if it doesn't happen? So my mindset says I need to prepare for those eventualities. Those individuals in that shutdown, if they had gone another 2 weeks, a lot of them would have found themselves on the street. Why? Because they didn't prepare for it. Why? Because their mindset wasn't geared towards that possibility or having money set aside, things of that nature. That's why the mindset is so key.
And, you know, Chris, I wonder how many of those people said to themselves, I'll never let this happen to me again. I wonder how many of that 800,000 people said to themselves, this will never happen to me again.
Yeah. And probably a lot of them haven't. And let me say this, that's not fair to say, but I'm sure a small percentage of them said, you know what, I'm going to take control of my financial destiny. I'm not going to let this happen again. Somewhere down the line, I'll share my story with your listeners and how I got in this business. It's because I found myself in a position where now I was dependent on employers. And when they let me down, it put me in a position where I had nowhere else to go. And so it began with me changing my mindset. And I'm hoping someone that's listening today doesn't wait until they lose their job or their hours get cut or their health says that they can't go to work. I hope that they listen to what we're saying today and say, okay, I got to change my mindset, and we'll tune in for the next 12 weeks as we start to talk about implementing things financially. But none of that means nothing if I'm not willing to change my mindset.
Absolutely nothing. I had a flashback to when I was working at Prudential, working in corporate America. You think, you're the big stuff or whatever. And I had a boss, and she was a mess. When I tell you she was awful, she was mean to the people. She was just a terrible person. And her name was Marie. And I remember she just thought it was all about her, was going to do what I say. She was a terrible boss. Like her management style was awful. But I remember the day that they walked her out of there. Security came in. We were in a big high-rise building in Islip, New Jersey. And I remember they walked out a lot of people, but I remember her specifically because she was crying and bawling. And, it was like, what am I going to do? And I'm thinking, but you come here and you make our lives miserable because your managing skills suck. And now you're on the outside saying, and we were still there when they walked her out, and security literally walked her out of the building. It was crazy. But I remember her saying, what am I going to do? And I'm like, wow. And I don't know her financial situation, but the fact that she even said that was like, wow, and this can happen. And I'm sure she did not come to work that day thinking they're going to walk me out of this building. I'm sure that wasn't it, because she had been, she's always been a mean person. And so it was like every other day. And it was around lunchtime. Like we were just all kind of just walking back to our desk and stuff and, kind of hanging out. And we happened to turn around and we saw 2 security officers walking her out, and they walked out about 5 people that day who I'm sure thought that they were very secure in their employment with Prudential at that time.
Yeah. Most of us think we are secure. Most of us would rather have job security than financial security. And I think what happens, we think because I have a job, I'm financially secure. No, as long as you're dependent on a job, you are never financially secure. And so I'm hoping people say, I need to start making some plans. I hope they reach out to you and say, what is it I need to do? And again, I believe it starts, as we've said, and we've been saying it over and over, with a change of mindset, because you'll never take control of your financial destiny until you change your mindset. And that's one of the biggest mistakes people make, the difference between dependence and independence.
Well, we're going to be coming. We got a 12-part series, guys. Listen, talking here with Chris Cooke, taking control of your financial destiny on Good Morning Gwinnett. Look, Gwinnetians, I know that, a lot of you are doing really well, but there are some of us who are still struggling. I know because I shout out a nonprofit who are helping people, and sometimes it's just people who just need to get back on their feet. So I know that there's a need out there for this information that we're bringing to you, and that's why we're going to be doing this 12-part series, taking control of your financial destiny. We're going to be doing this all the way up until we get it done, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. Hopefully you'll reach out to Chris and I. You can go over to Good Morning Gwinnett and leave a comment on the in the comment section on the website. If you have a question for us, leave your questions there in the comment section, and Chris and I will be happy to, more so Chris than myself, but because he is the financial master here. I'm learning to be the financial master. So I'm taking notes as you guys are taking notes as we listen to Chris, share this, drop these wisdom knowledge, wisdom on us. So we're going to be back next week talking about how to set a financial goal, because that's another thing. Like, people don't know that they can set a financial goal. Some people in business, they set business goals, they set weight loss goals. I know I've set a couple of those, over the years. Weight loss goals, business goals, I got goals for my children, and nobody sets a money goal. And we're going to talk about what that is next week, how to set a money goal. So we got a lot of good stuff coming down the pike for you guys. You're talking about 12 weeks of getting it right. Chris, everybody's doing their taxes right now. Everybody. Oh, yeah. What do you think they're doing with the money? You ready for Valentine's Day tomorrow?
Yeah, that's the case. A lot of people are going to spend it, but when I think about Valentine's Day, and talking about a mindset change, I want the listeners to think about this. Valentine's Day going forward should be the basis of financial planning and financial management. I know a lot of people say, well, I don't see that. But I want you to think about this. Valentine's Day is about love, loving a spouse, loving children, or loving someone. And so it makes you think about questions like, who are you? How long are you going to live? Mm-hmm. Again, we're talking about Valentine's Day. How long am I going to be around? Another question is, who is it that you love? What are you leaving them behind? Mm-hmm. And then the third question is, how well do I plan for the eventualities and the financial emergencies in my life. So Valentine's Day should say, you know what? I love this person enough to make sure that not only am I going to take care of them in the present, but I'm going to take care of them in the past, which means I've got to make some changes financially. And then at the heart of, I think, everything we said today was not just changing your mindset, because until you do that, you won't be able to take control of your financial destiny. You'll just be blown by every new fad, every time there's money to be spent, and we'll overspend. Because I believe this, every one of us, regardless of our race, age, religious background, or creed, are going to experience three things financially in life. If not all three, we're either going to owe too much, die too soon, or live too long. And Valentine's Day should make us say, you know what, I need to put some things in place to address all three of those for the people that I love.
Say that again, Chris. Say them three things again. That's powerful.
They're either going to owe too much, die too soon, or live too long.
Well, listen, we're going to end on that note because we got a lot of great stuff planned for you for the next 12 weeks. And I'm so excited that you're going to be here with me and taking the time out to share my audience here in Gwinnett and around the world, because the show is global. It's not just here in Gwinnett, but, you know, we like to say good morning, Gwinnett, and talk about, you know, what's going on Monday, Tuesday. I'm talking about all Gwinnett, Thursday, all Gwinnett. But Wednesday, we're going to be talking to Chris about how to get it right, how to create that legacy for your family. Because I'm in a legacy building mode. My granddaughter turned 3 weeks old today, thank God. I have a brand new granddaughter. She's 3. Her name is Carter. Happy birthday for the 3rd week in a row, Carter. And I'm really on a mission to create a legacy to leave behind for her. And we're going to talk about what that means moving forward on this show, in this episode of taking control of your financial destiny. You know, you may not even thought about leaving a legacy for anybody. You know, you got some people out there say, you know what, I ain't leaving nobody nothing. I ain't got no insurance. I ain't doing none of that. We're going to address that stuff, especially for those people who say, you know what, I get it. I want to leave a legacy for my family. I want my name to outlive me, because Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, you know, J.P. Morgan, their name outlived them. You know, and there are some other people we can name right now, Zuckerberg, Bezos, Buffett. Their names will outlive them because they have Michael Dell. They have created Bill Gates. They've created some amazing things. Oprah, Bob Johnson. Their names will outlive them, you know, and that's called legacy. When your name outlives you, that's called legacy. So, Chris, I thank you so much again for just being here and sharing that wisdom with us today. And I'm looking forward to the work that we have planned for the next 12 weeks. And right now, someone has a question for you. How do they contact you?
They can reach me on my cell at 404-839-8274. Again, that's 404-839-8274. Or they can send me an email to my legacy builders, the number 1. That's interesting, isn't it? My legacy builders, the number 1 at gmail.com.
All right. You heard it here from the man, Chris Cooke, the financial master, here right with us this morning on Good Morning Gwinnett. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. with another great episode. My host tomorrow, my guest tomorrow is going to be talking about more about Gwinnett, what goes on here. She manages the community here in Gwinnett at the county level, and we're going to be talking about her. We may be on a little bit late tomorrow because I have a couple events. So even though I'm supposed to come on at 11, it may be more like 1. So if you're listening right now, tune in tomorrow at 1 o'clock for that interview and find out more about what's happening on the county level with Gwinnett and around the community. Chris, thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you again next Wednesday, 9 a.m. We're going to be talking more about creating your financial destiny, taking control of your financial destiny, and building that legacy that I know you want to. And listen, guys, if you missed the episode, it's always on demand over at goodmorninggwinnett.com. Also, be sure to pick up one of the I Love Gwinnett t-shirts or rep your zip code. Whatever your zip code is, you live in the 30045, there's a shirt there for you. And if there's not a shirt there for you, shoot me a quick message and I'll make sure we get one up on the site for you. Rep your zip code or I Love Gwinnett. Chris, thank you again. I'll talk to you again next Wednesday with another great episode. Until next time, everybody, make it a great day. Bye for now.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in daily at 9 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you missed an episode, go to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com to catch up. If you like this episode, go ahead and subscribe to the show now. and share it with your friends.